Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Champions of Wellness podcast brought to you by Healing Your Way. And today we have a pretty fun and interesting topic. This is going to be an introductory video into sound and how it affects us and pretty much everything to do with sound. We're going to get into different types, how they affect us. What does it mean? Can you use sound to your advantage? And how you can approach this? The way we're going to kind of frame this first introductory episode is around music. So we're going to kind of do a surface level dive while also giving you some good info about music. I know everyone probably watching has experience with music somehow. Or in some way. What most likely is probably positive. I mean, depends on what type of music you like, but yeah, of course. And
we already got a comment from the chat. You have good genetics. I don't know who he's referring to, but we appreciate the kind words. And from Valentina, I'm not too sure what that says on,
Jalu, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a different language, but yeah, we appreciate your comments. And yeah, we're at 20. We're at 20. Are we seeing that right? 26 viewers.
Yeah, 26 viewers. Oh my God.
Man, that's a lot of viewers. All right, so yeah, when you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode. You can find us here on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all of the socials are at Healing Your Way. So please check out all of those platforms. Give them a like, subscribe, and it really helps us out. So thank you so much.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about music and kind of how it interacts with our body. And we'll have following podcasts, as San said, we're doing a little segment of sound, so the following will be more specific, whether it's health or something a little different than what it is today, as we're doing a little introduction.
Yeah, and like I said, everyone has their unique experience with music, and I would like to say from what I've heard from many people is that it's positive, especially my generation. They use it as something to lighten up their mood, make them feel better if they're on low energy. Maybe some fast and upbeat music can bring them up or lift them up. And I feel like our culture nowadays is really centered around music, because with almost every video you see online, there is always some type of soundtrack playing, something in the background, something that is going on. So it's something that's really present in our daily life, and I think it's a really good, important topic, especially when you're talking about something as broad as sound, because sound can be anything, but there kind of is a difference between sound that has a rhythm and sound that is just noise. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, but some of the info that I kind of pulled for music specifically was from the Andrew Huberman podcast that he did about how you can use music to kind of your advantage. So what you can do is, or excuse me, before I go into what you can do, well, how Huberman kind of described music, he kind of termed it sound-dependent pharmacological concert in the brain. So that probably sounds like a very like complicated or very long explanation for how music affects us. But pretty much what he's saying by this term is he's saying that different frequencies or music can actually cause our neurons to fire in rhythmic patterns, and that type of rhythmic pattern is going to release specific neurochemicals in our brains, such as dopamine, serotonin, and actually, funnily enough, even our body's own opioids. And that's pretty interesting to me, because that kind of like shows me how addicting music can be, and why people kind of long for some type of rhythm or some type of music or some type of beat in their life, because like I mean, it says it for itself. If it can trigger your body's own opioids to release, it's giving you such a nice, pleasant feeling. So why not try to be in that state as much as you can? Of course, there are specific ways you should approach it, but just know that music creates these chemicals that are then going to affect your emotional and physiological states.
Yeah, and what
And
happens when you hear a sound, when somebody talks to you, what's happening on a physical level is the vibrations are like going across your cochlea, which is inside of your ear, where it processes vibrations and turn them into electrical signals. So after those electrical signals are being made, your brain sends out neurotransmitters like San said, serotonin, dopamine, and they can really set your mood throughout the day. And you can use it to your advantage, whether it's in the morning when you want a more uplifting beat, or whether it's at night where you want to calm down and maybe rest and relax.
and if you kind of look at the origin of sound, and kind of how it came about historically, you can even date it back all the way to a place like ancient Egypt, and of course many other historical places around the world, because for the specific example of ancient Egypt, priests would use things like chants or tonal prayers inside of stone temples, specifically to amplify resonance, to give this type of presence through sound, so that the mind, the body, the soul can be harmonized with everyone else. And by participating in these chants, you're bringing yourself closer to everyone else around you, and you're bringing everyone closer to Earth's resonance as well. And there are different frequencies out there that you should be aware of. I'll touch on that a little bit later, but just know that sound, music, these things have been used for as long as we can remember. Also, in India, there's a system called the ragas, and these prescribe specific melodic scales for different times of day, seasons, and emotional states. So it pretty much is using sound as a daily prescription to keep you back, keep you centered, and keep you doing very well.
And a question from the chat: how can you stop heartburn?
Okay.
I personally think heartburn starts with the diet. Which is a major factor of how people digest their food and things like that, which leads to heartburn. You don't want to eat overly fatty foods or highly saturated fats, which might clog your system and not allow your body to fully digest what you're eating.
Yeah, eat or consume more omega-3s, because as you guys probably know, in the modern American diet, most people tend to consume a lot more omega-6s than omega-3s. So you want to focus on getting enough omega-3s to balance out that ratio. Also, if you have heartburn, that means your stomach and your GI is probably very acidic. So don't keep consuming foods that will be adding to that acidic effect. Consume something that maybe is going to neutralize it, something more basic. Then you can kind of look on like a pH scale. Just look up foods that are more basic and can neutralize heartburn, and maybe you can find solution from there before reaching for something like a Pepsid. And also try to eat earlier in the day to avoid gastric reflux. And help you with digestion. Those are like a few things you can do.
Yeah, especially I noticed as well, like when I eat past 8 p.m. And in the morning I'll have heartburn or just kind of gas built up in my stomach. But I know that's from eating a little too late, where my body wasn't able to digest the food while I was moving around and while my body was awake. When I was resting or relaxing, I wasn't able to digest everything that I needed to as I should have before. So kind of realizing when you should eat, and yeah, that will kind of be a quick fix to that.
Yeah, and to even expand the list of how we can view sound historically, we also have the Tibetan monks who have used singing bowls and mantras to settle the mind and kind of fine tune subtle energy in their body and help them with many different practices like calming the mind, meditation, developing mental clarity, mental discipline. And if you think of monks, there you think of someone who is very wise, who is very calm, very collected, and they use sound to help bring themselves centered and to kind of a very spiritual place. And I think having that aspect with sound and with music, that spirituality aspect, is also super important because I think it connects everyone and connects you to something in a completely different way than a lot of other physical things. If you can kind of understand what I'm getting or what
Yeah,
I'm saying by that.
yeah, and the monks, San said they use singing bowls and things like that, and those really affect on a low frequency, and you can see how they're really calm and kind of in a meditative state a lot because they can have music which stimulates that feeling. Serotonin is being released, which causes calmness and relaxation.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, or sorry, I'm gonna shift a little bit into what happens when we're listening to music and how music pretty much is kind of moving through us. So what happens? You hear music. There's the sound waves. The sound waves come travel through the air and into the cochlea, which is a spinal structure located in your ear or your inner ear, and that's also going to be lined with sensory hair cells. And these sensory hair cells pretty much kind of fine tune um, all these sound waves to a specific frequency. And when the vibration of the sound waves kind of matches the preference of these hair cells in your ear, then an electrical signal is sent to the brain, bending it, and then you're able to process and hear the sound. And these electrical patterns spread throughout the neural networks in your brain and reach parts of your brain such as the cortex, the limbic system, and the motor circuits. So this really shows like how it's affecting our brain on a significant level to the point where it's even affecting our movement as well. Like you may be nodding, you may be tapping your foot to music without even knowing, and your brain kind of plays along with whatever sound or rhythm it's hearing. Specifically, I would say it plays along more with rhythm because when you have something that is rhythmic, it sounds very nice. You can kind of have a pace to it, and what can happen is this phenomenon called entrainment, and this is pretty much what happens when neurons fire the same time as the rhythm. So your neurons are firing. So imagine you have a beat like this. Your neurons are firing at the same time the beat is going. And pretty much when this happens, your body starts to move with the beat. Like I said, you may nod your head, you may like tap something, or you may start like toe tapping, moving your feet, swaying side to side, and it's just gives you like a pleasant feeling. It feels so natural and so easy to connect with the music and the rhythm that is playing.
And also, I heard that specifically, low bass and that type of sound communicates with the motor pathways in your brain specifically. So if you want to feel more upbeat and moving around, maybe play something with a more heavy bass and go from there. But also, your brain works at a low frequency, and I found that say if somebody's talking to me in a low frequency or a low deep tone, my body and my mind is going to respond in a lower frequency inside my brain.
Yeah, that's why like people who are maybe monotone or don't really have ups and downs in the way they speak, it kind of draws less attention and makes you feel more sleepy. And even though like I've encountered this with maybe some professors of mine or teachers in the past, and when they speak monotone, it kind of like makes me more sleepy. Um, my attention span is not there. I'm not with them throughout all of the words or content that they're presenting to me. And this is like really unique because what actually is going on in our brain and in our body when we have these different types of music or melodic changes is different neurotransmitters are being released. So, for example, if we have music that is very high paced, that's going to stimulate a lot of dopamine response and high dopamine response. So that's going to keep us up, activated, motivated. For example, like this would be a good thing to do when you're going to the gym or doing any form of exercise because it keeps you upbeat, it keeps you lively, and it keeps you awake because of the dopamine being released, and it pretty much just puts you in a zone or a mental state of pleasure, focus, and reward, which is pretty optimal for a setting like the gym, pretty much, or any exercise setting.
And the same
Oh,
could work with when you're trying to wind down and go to sleep later in the day. Use low frequency sounds which will calm your body down. Not something that will be overly stimulating, like San said. You would use those for more of an athletic performance or something like an exercise.
yeah. And serotonin is released when you have these more melodic and harmonic sounds. Like think of something like jazz, something that is like very gentle, and you can kind of listen to as background music. I kind of separate it, and I see a lot of people separate it. Think of the music that you listen to when you're studying versus the music that you listen to when you're working out. That's the biggest kind of like difference I can say between the two that can is probably relatable for you guys. When I'm at the gym, usually it's always something high paced, and I've tried like listening to music that I probably would like on a walk or during studying, and I noticed that I don't really get the same type of energy, the same type of feeling. But I also noticed the opposite with the more melodic and harmonious music that is slowed down and not as upbeat. Like I noticed flip flopping those like in other scenarios like didn't really work out for me, and this pretty much aligns with what Dr. Huberman was talking about in his podcast for how you can use music to your advantage. That
Yeah.
just think there's different neurotransmitters that are being released with the different types of music, and that's pretty much overall going to affect your mood and how you're feeling, and can also impact your energy as well.
Yeah, and use it like a radio station. If you're feeling a certain way or in a certain position where you are trying to get more movement, you would tune it down to something that is lower frequency when you're calming down. But when you want a higher frequency would be when you're more active. So kind of finding your rhythm and tuning it down to where you like it. Also, I found when I was studying, I accidentally played some music that I would listen to in the gym, and I didn't notice it at the time because I was focused on studying. But after even just 10 seconds of listening, I was like, "Oh my god, this is overstimulating, and I can't take it anymore." So then I switched to the calmer beat, maybe like a lo-fi or something that's like would be kind of like a not like a background, but more calming, which would help me a lot more. And I noticed a big difference, and it wasn't overstimulating, and I just felt a lot more calmness.
Yeah, I think overstimulating is a good word. Sometimes I find that like lo-fi is sometimes overstimulating for me, and what has worked the most, I think, as far as like studying, is the alpha wave music. Uh, there's like one on YouTube. It's like called Alpha Waves and Binaural Beats, and I don't know how, but whenever I am studying and I really want to focus, or it's hard to kind of center my attention somewhere, I pretty much put on either alpha waves or binaural beats, and it really helps me feel focused, and like I can kind of hear my own inner voice. Like other types of music is are like too stimulating for me, especially if I want to do like some deep work, and that's why like I opt for something like that. But anything that's going to be more slow and more melodic is better for studying, and it actually is good overall for reducing stress as well. Um, One clinical study found that melodic music around 60 beats per minute was shown to reduce cortisol, which you guys probably know is your main stress hormone. And it was also able to lower blood pressure in hospital patients. And this kind of reminds me of someone my mom was talking about a little bit ago. She knew someone that actually invented a device that would measure some vital signs. I'm pretty sure it was along the lines of beats per minute or heart rate and blood pressure levels. And what the device would do is pretty much read your or test your vital signs, and wherever your vital signs were at, it would play a specific music to then help either elevate or lower um, either one of those vitals based on what you needed, pretty much. So if you had like high blood pressure and a high heart rate, playing excuse me, this device would play specific music at a specific frequency to then bring those beats down per minute and also lower your blood pressure, which I saw was like very interesting and very cool. And turns out like this, what I've been researching and finding out about sound like really shows like its effectiveness. And I didn't know this, but it also says, or I've also seen some info that has said that playlists are now being used before for patients who are going into surgery, like before they go into surgery, during chemotherapy, and even at the bedside in a setting where people are undergoing end of care life. So I mean, and they do this to ease like any pain and anxiety, and also help their vitals out as well, which I thought is super cool.
And I think you can also use music on an emotional sense. Say when you feeling a song where it's going to make you happy or uplifting, what or when you have a song which is making you feel a little sad and not like on a bad sense, but sad in a way that's releasing emotions that you built up before. um, I think people should listen to these sad songs when they're feeling the emotion instead of hiding from it, because you can process them and kind of release what's going on and built up inside of you. And you can use music in many different ways like this. Like I'm saying, emotions can be conveyed through music.
Yeah, and I think the way Dr. Huberman kind of presented his info about how you can use music, he kind of did it on a more chemical level, but not to, I guess, the scope of physics and how it affects things like subatomic particles. But when I was kind of thinking about like what Jack Cruz says about how the how structured uh, the part of the subatomic particles in your body are moving determines your overall health and mitochondrial efficiency. Like I kind of related that idea to something else I found, and I have the notes right here just to make sure I say it right. It's something called somatics. I saw this a little bit earlier on, and pretty much it's how sound affects water's geometry, and where sound frequencies cause water to organize into geometric patterns. And this phenomenon demonstrates how vibrations can create visible, symmetrical shapes like circles, spirals, fractals, and the significance lies in revealing the link between sound geometry and matter. So it kind of clicked in my brain, like, because I like if you look up a video of somatics, you'll see you might not see the water example right away, but you'll either see like a plate with some sand on it, or you'll see a kind of plate, but now there's like a ring around it so that that they can add water into it. So either you'll see like sand or water, and what will happen is that the person plays a specific frequency. The person plays a specific frequency, and those sound waves travel to the plate, and the plate has a vibration, and what it does is it changes the geometrical shape of the substance that's on the plate. So for example, for the sand, you'll see like different geometric structures start to form as the person changes the frequency. The same thing with water. You might see a few ripples, then the ripple pattern might change. The ripple, like the oscillation of the ripple, might be more prominent or less prominent, and that kind of pretty much like confirmed for me in my head that sound, whatever sound it may be, is affecting us on the physics level because of some of the phenomena that you see here with somatics. So if you kind of think of like those particles of sand restructuring on the plate, you can kind of think of our own particles, our protons and electrons in our body. They're reconfiguring with the new frequencies and new sound waves that are being sent to us through our environment. And I thought that kind of like bridged the physics gap, or at least like brought it to, or connected it to like the work that Jack Cruz is doing.
Yeah, and when we talk about sound on the physics level, we can delve more into that in a future podcast, or another segment that we're going to do on sound, and we're going to show that experiment so you guys have a little visual of it.
Yeah, and I think definitely check out somatics. It's CYMATICS. Just search it up on YouTube, and it's like really, really cool. Also, another video you can watch, it's by this Japanese, I don't know if he's I think he's a doctor, but he researched how sound and water can create light, and it's called Star in a Jar. You can check that out too, and that's another phenomenon that's like super cool to view. So yeah, just like MP4 Change said, it's called Star in a Jar. I don't remember the gentleman's name that led the experiment, but just look up Star in a Jar and you'll probably find the video.
And I also wanted to say one more thing about sound. When you listen to music, don't just listen to music the whole day. You need several different sessions, whether it's 20 to 30 minutes of studying, maybe take a little break, and let your brain kind of understand and let them process the vibrations and emotions going through your body. For example, it's like kind of like trigger where we take pauses in the middle of our sessions because we want the body to integrate as well as process the movement patterns that we're trying to facilitate, as well as teach the body how to do. There's a lot of patterns that are built up over time, and if there's not enough time for people to process them in silence, then it will always be built up. So taking a moment and just relaxing and just listening to your body and just resting in nature is one thing that you need to not miss out on.
Yeah, definitely. And another few examples clinically that I think also kind of connect to like some Traeger principles would be this one example where group drumming was used with veterans to reduce PTSD symptoms, giving them back a sense of control and embodied rhythm. I kind of see the way they have approached the drumming the same way we kind of approach Traeger, that we're sending the body a signal that's giving them back a sense of control and rhythm. And that rhythm then integrates with them and brings them closer to their body instead of away and separate from it. So that can help recorrect maybe some patterns that have arisen. I know some people like to use music with Traeger. I've experimented with it, and I've seen positive results. Again, I'm usually using like meditation music or very relaxing music, not something that's going to be too loud or overwhelming. But it was really cool to see how something like group drumming can reduce PTSD symptoms and bring people away from holding all of these unwanted attention patterns, whether it's physical or if it's something psychological as well.
Yeah, and I like to use the music too when I'm doing Traeger. Like, I'll put on a frequency that's 432 hertz, and I'll just play it for the whole session. And I feel like that affects their state of mind and makes them be in a very relaxed state throughout the whole session, as well as giving them rhythmic movement and pauses throughout will help all together. And also another thing to kind of help the vibration throughout our body is listening to music through speakers, or kind of a not a Bluetooth device, whether it's like something like this where it's wireless. Always use wired headphones. You want to prevent EMFs from reaching your brain and affecting you on another level. So listening through a speaker, you can have that vibration throughout your whole body instead of through your ears, just through your ears.
Yeah, and there's like, for what I would recommend is like the minimum that you do, try to use like even though this is not the best case, like try to use like some wired headphones like this. Don't do what Joshua's doing right now. He's using Bluetooth headphones. That's gonna increase the EMF activity that, and think about, this is like this is operating between your brain, so it's definitely gonna affect the way your brain is operating on a physics level, and throw your body out of its wanted or optimal environment. It's gonna cause lots of interference especially to something as important and significant as your brain. So what I would do is opt for the wired earbuds or headphones. And if you want to take a step better, like Joshin just said, use speakers, because then it at least has a chance to travel through the air and before reaching your cochlea. Unlike this, it's pretty much like right there. There's nothing traveling through the air to get into my ear canal. It's literally lodged right in there. And then also, if you want to take a step above that, listen to I don't know, like a band or play some music on a guitar, because then you have no EMF, no strong EMF activity with that. And another thing that I found, that Rick Rubin, I don't know if he found someone who used it or if it's his own company, but he said it was air conduction headphones that kind of uses air to, air, pretty much like the title sounds. It uses air conduction to have the sound travel more naturally and reduce the overall EMF stimulus on the brain.
And
oh no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Or no, you go ahead. I just talk a lot.
Oh, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Okay, then another. This is what I want to say. Another a thing you can do when listening to music is grounding. So this pretty much means that you should go outside, get the sun, and then also listen to music at the same time, just to make sure you're touching something conductive to help your body discharge whatever electrical stress that may be caused by your sound source or your music source. Because most of the music we listen to is from our phone, from our headphones, never really played on like an instrument unless you're the one practicing. But usually people aren't listening to that music on a daily basis. It's all from electronics.
And so, yeah, also one thing I wanted to say was listen to music from a more natural standpoint. If you can't get music outside or from a natural environment, even listening to birds chirping and wind blowing across with going outside will kind of give you a natural effect of sound. So if you can't directly get that, you can listen through a speaker and kind of get the similar effect. Whenever I'm training or whenever I'm doing some sort of physical activity, I listen through a speaker or through my phone from a little far away, so that I have a little bit of a better experience instead of wearing headphones and causing a more damaging effect.
Yeah, and another thing that I think is brought up often, and I've heard this debate before. It's the difference between what most modern Western music uses as far as their standard pitch or frequency, and how that compares to previous music that was maybe done in an orchestra setting. So most modern Western music uses a 440 hertz frequency as the standard pitch. That means the A note above the middle C note vibrates 440 times per second. And before this standard of 440 hertz was made, like I said, many orchestras use slightly lower tuning, which would be around 432 hertz. And what kind of people are giving a debate is that a 432 hertz is closer to central certain natural harmonics found in things like the math of planetary orbits, Schumann resonance overtones, and traditional tuning systems in older instruments. So they're pretty much saying that it's closer to what we find in our natural environment, and the fact that 440 is, or that pitch is leading away from the 432 hertz. People are speculating that it's having a negative effect because it's adding more interference by bringing us away from the natural harmony of the or sound waves. And this also makes me want to dive into the other frequency ranges that are kind of more critical to the brain and body. So you can separate these 5 different frequency ranges into delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. So first we have the lowest frequency, which is delta. That's going to be the frequency when you have deep sleep and healing, and that's going to facilitate recovery and cellular repair. Then we have theta, which is 4 to 8 hertz, which is going to be a more meditative state involving a lot of introspection, and it's going to help you be very creative and also be able to undergo emotional processing. Then you have alpha, which is 8 to 13 hertz, and this is the one that I said I like to listen to when I'm studying. And this gives a calm focus and relaxed presence and boosts flow and learning. So pretty much perfect for like a studying or learning environment. And it also mirrors the Schumann resonance, which we talked about on, I don't remember if it was the last podcast or
the last podcast on magnetism.
Yeah, the last podcast. And the Schumann resonance is pretty much like the frequency of the sound waves in the ionosphere from lightning strikes, actually, which was very interesting that like the lightning strikes create that sound frequency from a space that large. Like, I mean, the Schumann the lightning strikes are happening from where we're standing, so the Earth's crust up into the ionosphere. So I just thought it was really cool that amount of space can be affected by whatever frequency of lightning strikes. But anyways, moving on to the next range, which is beta. This is going to be 13 to 30 hertz. This is going to be a more alert and active state and heightened motivation.
Which one is this called? Beta?
Beta. 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 And it's going to heighten motivation and task performance. Then we have gamma, which is going to be 30 to 100 hertz. And this is going to stimulate intense focus, peak cognition, and also integrate perception and movement as well. So more for like an exercise setting. And you can type in any of these frequencies and see what type of music falls, music or sound falls under these categories, and give them a try for each of the respective brain and body states that I just listed.
And also, if you like certain music, you can figure out which songs have a certain frequency which agrees with what time you're doing throughout the day. Like I said before, use your brain as a radio station. Like San said, if you want to go to sleep, you will listen to something, or if you want to study, you will listen to something like an alpha wave or alpha frequency. But if you want to go exercise, you will listen to gamma. So kind of tuning your radio station to what fits your activity throughout the day is going to affect your overall health and as well as wellness throughout the day. And you can use it throughout the week and every day. Yeah.
And moving on to like some simple like at home practices that you can do. One practice that you can do that can be daily or whenever you need it is the 5-minute humming breath. So pretty much you're going to sit upright with your hand on your belly, and you're going to inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Then you're going to exhale for a soft for 6 counts, and then feel the vibration in your chest, your throat, and your face as well. And you're going to have
Do you want to try that?
Yeah. So it's 4 counts inhale and then 6 to 8 counts of the Okay, ready? Inhale. And yeah, that might be like awkward or seem funny to you guys, but I've done this. I actually tried this like right before doing the episode, and I found that it's actually like very nice and very calming, and it's kind of cool to like kind of pay attention and be aware of the like literal vibration that's like happening when you're making that humming sound. And the kind of science behind how this practice is really effective is that it stimulates the vagus nerve, and this increases heart rate variability and shifts you into the parasympathetic mode, which we know is significant for rest and digest. So making you calm. Any activities that like such as breathing also or deep breathing can also stimulate the parasympathetic mode as well. So do it whenever you are just finished eating a meal or you're about to go to sleep. Something like this can help you calm down and relax very effectively, actually.
And you're basically sending vibrations within the inside of your body, which you wouldn't do where if you were listening to a speaker, like and sending vibrations through sound. You kind of would be doing that on the inside, and even though speakers and sound will be going through your ears, it gives a little different effect to it.
And I think the second practice that we have for you guys that's been used in India for many years is chanting. And one of the most primordial sounds or chants that people have been using for a very long time is the chant Om. So Joshin, do you want to kind of do like a demonstration for us?
Yeah, we can do it together. So there's three different sounds you want to focus on. Is and so when you hear those sounds, the you'll feel in your chest, and then like the kind of like you is through your throat, and then you'll feel in your skull. So kind of think of those things when you're doing it, but it's around 3. Do it for 3 to 5 seconds, and yeah, we'll do one. Yep. That's pretty much how you do it. But
I don't know if I did the timing right, but I think what is it like?
A little bit quick, but you should do like 3 to 5 seconds.
Like how many seconds per like each one? Like 1 second another second and then last one.
It's kind of I think it's 5 seconds altogether. So however you break them up, it's like it's gonna be 5 seconds. But you can do this several times. You don't have to do just one. You could do it in the morning and also at nighttime. It will just kind of regulate and kind of set up the inside of your body through vibrations. And
this does the kind of same thing as the other practice by stimulating the vagus nerve, but you kind of get more range when you're chanting Om, because now it has kind of like, if you break down both of them, the Om has the ah and the but the at the end is also kind of the same thing when you're like humming. So it's you get like increased range from doing the because now you're getting vibration in the places where Joshin said, like your lower chest and belly, your throat, and then your skull, face, and sinuses. Where if you're only doing the hum, you're only gonna be creating vibration in your skull, face, and your sinuses.
Not to say that it isn't good as well. You can do just the sound as like we did in the last exercise, but adding all three, having the vibration come from here, and then here gives a better energy flow in your body. And I think doing those in the morning and at night can really make a big effect.
And there's more even more primordial sounds other than that are chanted. We can go into those other primordial sounds in a podcast later and kind of give you the history and significance behind them, what they were used for. But at least just to give you like a very simple and the most basic and fundamental practice would be to chant Om. And so I hope you guys like take these two practices of the Om and the humming, as well as like kind of being strategic about how you are like using music to help you. Of course, I think music should be something that's like not really like focused in on as a tool, but something to be kind of enjoyed and loved. So you shouldn't really like try to hyper focus around, oh, like I'm going to the gym, so I'm playing this music. I'm studying, so I'm playing that music. Like don't try to think of it in specific or strict parameters like that. Just use it based on how you feel, pretty much. So just take. Hopefully, you take what we said and don't strictly like overuse in certain scenarios, but you just go with how you feel, pretty much.
And also, yeah, I'll do some of my recommendations, and then you can say some of yours, like they can take and use, you know. So, some of the recommendations I have is maybe do sessions where you listen to music. Like if you're studying for a certain amount of time, say 30 minutes or an hour, listen to music for that hour, and then take a little break with your mind, take a little bit away from studying, and just have your mind relax without music, and let your body kind of retune itself to where it should be. And having that silence is really important. And also avoid using wireless Bluetooth headphones like I have right now, and listen through speakers.
Yeah, and I agree with all of those recommendations. I would also just try to like when you like I think another thing that people often do is like use music like excessively as like kind of like background noise. And what I kind of find by that's negative by doing that is kind of you're blocking like your own mental and emotional processing. So you're like kind of like lollygagging and not thinking. So if like your use of music becomes like too much to the point that it's messing up your like mental and emotional processing, and you're using it as a way to avoid maybe thinking about certain situations, dealing with certain issues, I think then it becomes a problem. Of course, like people use it as a coping mechanism, but when you have issues unsolved and you're just using it as a way of avoidance, then it becomes a very unhealthy relationship with music.
And also one more thing, use music to your advantage when it comes to emotional state. Like I said before, you can use it to bring up feelings of sadness, and also release those feelings as well that are built up inside of you. And also, if you want to feel in a more happy mood or joyful mood, play something that will make you feel that sort of way. Maybe make a playlist where it comes, maybe make different playlists. You'll have a playlist which you would use for a specific time of the day, whether it's resting and relaxing or studying. Use a playlist for studying or for movement based. So set that up for yourself. That's something that you can do as well.
Yep. And I think we covered everything as far as this introduction about sound and focusing on music. And I'm really grateful for everyone who was able to join in today. And
Yeah,
I don't know, we had like a crazy surge
yeah,
like at the beginning. I don't know what
yeah,
happened or how that happened. That was like I think the most viewers we had. So
yeah. Thank you.
hopefully the
Mhm.
algorithm keeps blessing us and we can get more and more viewers. But thank you guys for. Or Joshin, did you have something else you want to say?
Yeah. I want to say especially thank you, Marianne and Yadira. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right for commenting in the chat. Yeah, pop in whenever you like and ask questions like you said before. Um, and be ready for the next sound episodes coming up, and we'll provide the information you need.
Yep. So yeah, please stay tuned. Like we're like we're gonna kind of make a series out of this one, going in deeper about the effects of sound. It may not all be in an exact order, but we'll kind of compile this or these episodes like into a playlist specifically focused on sound.
Yeah,
So
stay
yeah,
tuned with the Instagram, and you'll know which episode's coming out on next Monday.
yep. So yeah, please go check out all the social media so you can stay up to date with all the content we're pushing out. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, we're here on Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So please give all of those like and subscribe and share. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today's podcast of Champions of Wellness. And we will see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.